Hey guys, Joker here. Today I thought I would bring you my top 10 favorite guys in otome slash visual novels. And at number 10, we have Kazuya from Demon's Bond. It's a game by NTT Sommer. And the full title is Shall We Date Demon's Bond? And Kazuya is just an interesting route to play from all the other demons you get to play, and even the MC is a demon herself. And it's just very interesting how you go from a man who's very cold-hearted and wants nothing to do with the MC to somebody who will risk his life to protect her. So the premise of the game is that you all sorta are rulers of demon clans separately, and you're not supposed to have any contact with humans. But then something happens to a princess, and unfortunately it makes you having to interact with humans, and later you even find out that some of the other demon clan leaders have also interacted with the humans even though they're not supposed to. And so at number 9 we have Toa from Court of Darkness by Voltage Inc. And his route is kind of slow. Out of all of the routes that are out currently, it's still kind of a new game, so there's still some routes that just haven't come out yet, and I don't know when they're gonna come out. But basically, he's kind of very duty bound and having to do whatever it sorry guys, whatever it is to better his kingdom, even if it is at a cost of his own feelings or something that he may not want. And so it's very sweet that, we as the MC, we teach him how to not do that and not be so duty bound. But he is a very loyal character, and I love that out of all the routes so far, he seems to be the one that controls his urges, unlike some of the other characters. And basically the premise for this game is that you magically get summoned to this other world called Celestia, and upon arriving, you meet these princess, and you find out that you have this unknown power that enhances the people of this world's powers. And so you are forced to wear a collar that suppresses your magical abilities so that no country may want to use you for political gain. And so then at number 8, we have Fenrir from Ethan Lost Eichmann, I believe. It's by Abracadabra. Fenrir is an interesting character. He's a very silent type, but has very strong morals and tends to do everything he can to protect the main character, even to the point of trying to teach her some sort of instincts, and even trying to get her to see that even him, who's trying to protect her and keep her safe, could be a threat to her safety. because you have amnesia. Yeah. The premise of this game is that you're in a cruise with a bunch of other people, and then the ship crash lands in this uninhabited island, and you get saved, but then when you wake up, you realize that you have no recollection of who you are except for your name. Yeah, there's always a lot of interesting plot twists or plot points with a lot of these games. And so at number 7, we have Grayson. He's also from Court of Darkness. He's not a prince, but rather a ballet, what they call in the game servants, and so he's in the service of one of the other princes. He's very stoic, loyal to the man that he serves, but very cryptic in the beginning. But he's also very passionate, and honestly, I think his route moves too fast. And also, so far, it's the only route I've seen that has kinda a big conflict very early on. And it also tests the character's morals and his beliefs. But it's very interesting. And so at number 6, we have Daniel. He's from the game Shall We Date Blood and Roses by NTT Sommer. And this one is supernatural creatures. It's about vampires. Daniel's actually a werewolf. And I haven't truly played all of his route, but I still love, nonetheless, what I've known of his route, because he's very oblivious, has no sense of direction, and sometimes he's kind of like a puppy, and I just find that adorable. The premise in this game is that this game has 2 sorta MCs, and you can either, like, depending on which of the guys you choose, you're either a witch who's a descendant of a much powerful witch, or you're a huntress who's a descendant of the same powerful witch. And so with Daniel's route, you are a witch who has been sent to locate this hotel for vampires in the middle of this forest. And so when you find it, you get captured by vampires, and they basically drink your blood until you turn you into a vampire. And so the only way you can return to being a human again is if you find a rose in 10 days that can turn you back into a human. And funny enough, Daniel is also looking for this rose. So your relationship actually starts out of mutual beneficence, but then later turns into more than that. And it's a very good route. A lot happens because it's supernatural. At number 5, we have Yukiya from Shall We Date Wizardess Heart, another title from NTT Sommer. Oh my god, where do I start with this one? So Yukiya is an interesting route. He's a quiet young man, but very sweet. Another character that just enjoys sweets, and I just find that adorable. He's also very caring, but seems to be hiding some sort of dark past, and he actually views magic as a curse, even though he is attending an academy that teaches how to use magic. And so the premise of this game is that you are a wizard and you suddenly get accepted to go to this academy that teaches young people how to use magic. And you go to this academy, and once you end up there, you'll have way too many routes to choose from. And all of them just have very unique storylines to them, but in each route there's something magical about it, and there's always something tragic to the male characters. And so then at number 4 we have Jejer Cat from Shall We Date? Guilty Alice. Again, from NTT Solmer. There's a lot of the list from NTT Solmer, and that's because those are the most games I've played, and all of these games are on mobile. Boy, where do I start with this one? The Cheshire Cat is an interesting character, and no, he's not a cat. He's an actual human male, but he does wear a costume that has a hood that has the face of the Cheshire Cat, and it's very funny. He's very peculiar that he's sort of playing games, and he's in the beginning manipulating you to get what he wants. But as you go through the route, he's not bad. He's very sweet, but you can tell that he hasn't really had the best life, and he kind of hates his birthplace, to be honest. And so the premise of this game is that you walk into a shop and you end up purchasing a glass heart from this man, then only to wake up in a strange sort of courtroom, and you're in presence of the Heart of Queens, who tells you that you are guilty for stealing her heart, and now you must produce a glass heart yourself by falling in love with one of the guys. And this honestly is one of the games that just kills my soul, because if you do end up giving her the glass heart that you end up making at the end, which happens if you get the bad ending, you lose your memories from the guy that you're romancing, and they explain this to you in the beginning, and it's very heartbreaking. But if you get the good ending, then that doesn't happen, and you get to live happily ever after with the guy you're romancing. It's very interesting because they do use a lot of the elements from Alice in Wonderland, and that's basically like the game. Because some of the other routes that you can play as, there's the Mad Hatter, the Cheshire Cat, there's a prince, you see at some point, they're not playable characters because they're children, but you do interact with Tweedledee and Tweedledum. There's one thing where the thing that you eat to shrink and become bigger, that does show. So there's a lot of Alice in Wonderland elements, and there have been a lot of games and manga from Japan inspired by Alice in Wonderland. So it's very interesting. And so then at number 3 we have Hiro. He's from Shall We Date Wizardess Heart. He's one of the other routes in that game. He's a very serious young man. I really like about this character that he's very serious, not a big talkative, but when he does talk, he's very blunt, and he doesn't sugarcoat things. We're constantly baking him things because he loves muffins, and that's just adorable. Although for some strange reason, he's the only character that doesn't use magic, but he's in this academy. And it's very interesting why, but that was my main intrigue with this character. So yeah. And he also is a bit duty bound to one of the other characters because of family reasons. Then at number 2 we have Joker. He's also from Shall We Date Guilty Alice. Oh my god. Where do I begin with this character? He is very strong-willed and very caring, but at the same time, he's very sad, and he does tend to put a lot of weight into what others think. Because in the game, in Wonderland, his name is considered the lowest thing. It's considered being a criminal, and it's not even his fault, because it ends up being because of something that happened before he was born, but as a result, he's the one that ends up being punished, and honestly, that's the saddest thing. But he is very sweet, and as you play his route, you tend to notice that he tends to be very attuned to the MC's feelings and what she may be going through by suddenly having to produce this glass heart for the Queen of Hearts. And so he's very sympathetic and often will try to cheer her up, try and put himself in her shoes, and even to the point that, aside from other characters, he's one of the few that doesn't call the MC as Alice, because throughout the game, when you're in Wonderland, most characters called you by Alice instead of whatever the name it was that you chose for your character. And Joker's one of those few that you ever see him actually using that name, especially after what he's gone through, and he understands how sometimes names could make you feel worthless, especially if you are being told that your name is considered a horrible thing. And then at number 1, we have Cheeky from Shall We Date? Blood and Roses. This character falls in the part of the Huntress, and you meet him after you are attacked by a vampire. Because basically her side of things is that she is hunting for the hotel of vampires, because there's been a lot of vampire attacks, and they actually ask her to go kill the vampires. And so while she's trying to locate the hotel, she gets attacked. And at the last minute, she is saved by Shiki. And it gets revealed that she has this unknown power within her. And she thinks that Shiki is only protecting her for her powers. But as you play the route, you soon learn that there's actually a bigger reason why he's protecting her. And it's far greater than what we as a player end up thinking. And he is a devil. Like I said, this game is supernatural, so you have a lot of interesting supernatural creatures. And so yeah, I hope you liked this mini rant of me gushing off my favorite male characters in Japanese visual novels. And I hope you like, comment, and subscribe.